Hi guys. Okay, so today I just wanted to talk about the Chinese massacre of 1871. Now, this is considered to be one of the worst lynchings in all of our nation's history. Now, this is where a mob of about 500 men in Los Angeles stormed Chinatown and attacked and murdered 19 Chinese residents. Now, I just wanted to talk to you about what led up to this event before it all happened. Now, as more and more Chinese immigrated to the US in the 1800s, many Americans were angry at the fact that their financial and economic difficulties were due to the Chinese. Like, they felt that the Chinese were taking their jobs. Now, Americans grew more and more distrustful of them, compounded by the government and media racist rhetoric, right, in the news and stuff like that. And Chinatowns across America faced massive acts of opposition and oppression, like arson, vandalism, robbery, and lynchings. Now, in 1871, Los Angeles was still small. There was about 6,000 people, and of those 6,000, a little less than 200 were Chinese. Now, Los Angeles was a dirty, violent city back in the day, and it had a higher homicide rate than New York or Chicago. Like, I know that statistic is based on per capita, but it's crazy to think because at that time, New York had like 1.5 million people. Okay, so now Los Angeles not only had 6,000 people, but it employed only 6 police officers to maintain law and order. Like 6 cops for that many people. I guess that's why lynchings and mob justice were common. Okay, so this is what went down. There was a conflict between the leaders of 2 rival tongs. Now, tongs were underground criminal organizations. Now, they were called the Ninyang and the Hongqiao. So the 2 leaders of the Ninyang and the Hongqiao, they got in an argument and they got in a fight over the kidnapping of a Chinese woman, right? And the argument got out of hand, and so they started blasting away in the streets, right? Gunfight in the streets, things were getting crazy, and then there was a police officer that was patrolling and some bystanders that tried to intervene on the fight. Now, what happened was one of the police officer ended up getting wounded, and one of the guys, the innocent bystanders, ended up getting shot and killed. And the reason why is because he chased one of the Chinese guys into a building. They got into a fight, and there was a shootout that happened in an apartment, and the guy died, right? Now, the news of the violence spread across the city like wildfire. Rumors that the Chinese community were killing whites, right? So more men gathered around Chinatown, acting as a barrier to prevent any Chinese from escaping. So the mob grew to a size of about 500 people. And those 500 men proceeded to attack, rob, and murder these 19 Chinese residents in cold blood. The rioters, they forced the Chinese out into the streets, and they dragged them to makeshift gallows. Okay, it was a gruesome scene. Now, although the grand jury returned 25 indictments for the murder of the Chinese, only 10 men stood trial, and 8 rioters were convicted of manslaughter charges, but the charges were overturned on a legal technicality, and the defendants were never retried. It's pretty scary to think of what a hate-filled, angry, violent mob is capable of.